Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Sound of Sergey podcast, episode 14. It is very good to be back. I'm back. I'm here with energy. Last episode, I did not have as much energy as I usually do. This is the amount of energy that I like to have. I like to have the crackhead energy, which is because I drank like 8 espressos today, because I knew I had to be staying up late tonight to do a photo shoot, which is also why my voice sounds very, very hoarse. If you want to know why my voice sounds very hoarse, so I just got back from literally a 2-hour drive. I was with my friend Josh Mauser. If you don't know who Josh is, he's a great guy. He's literally awesome. He's a dope dude. He asked me to do his senior photos for him, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. He was like, how much do I owe you? I'm not going to charge a friend because that's stupid. He was like, all right, let's do senior portraits. I drive to get him, and he's like 30 minutes away from my house. I drive him back to my house. I do the photo session. Then I drive him back, and then I drive here. I was literally talking to him for like 2 hours straight. We were laughing like insane people. We were talking. It was overall a good time. We were having a good time when we did it. To the point where, like, as you can hear, my voice right now is extraordinarily hoarse. Like, my voice is hurting when I speak to you guys. If you don't know who Josh is, he's an awesome dude. He is legitimately dope. He does like rap on YouTube, which I know sounds stupid and dumb, but trust me, he's an awesome dude, and he's very good at rapping. Could I sound any more white when I describe that? All right. So here is the news. Last week I told you about how the school was planning to go virtual. Virtual. That was the plan from McCracken County High School. And that they were making schedule changes and everything was weird. And everything was like, it did not make any sense at all. Now that I've told you about that, I have more news, which basically throws all the other news out the window. So they have recently done a vote, which, I mean, if we're being honest, that's a good way to do it. Like, because the people who are really concerned about it is, the parents. And so the parents did a vote. And here's basically, there were like 5 options. One was like, just do what we're doing now. 2, go in person and like just be literally stupid. Like, hey, you can just do whatever. One of them was start virtually, then go in person. One was start in person low and then go in person all the way. So it was like 15,000 different options. The people eventually voted on, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to start virtually for like 1 week, which is weird. It's like, if you're going to do virtual, don't do it for 1 week. Do it for like a while, or just don't do it at all. You're going to do virtual for 1 week, then just go into in-person, and then it's going to split up. Groups A go Tuesday, Thursday. Groups B go Wednesday, Friday, which is weird. I don't know the logistics of that. I do not even want to know what it's like to be on the committee that figures those groups out. I do not even want to be part of that. That is not something I even want to go near. I'm about to get a teensy bit political on you. Not really political, but I'm going to get controversial here. I see on Facebook, won't name any names, but they would repost the fact that they're having a vote, and they'd list all the options, and they're like, vote A, because A was basically do entirely, and A was the option was like, you can just do whatever you want. Basically, all these 16-year-old white girls who are reposting on Facebook and saying, choose A, they were all saying that because all these 16-year-old white girls, their reasoning, every time they post it, they'd have like 5 big giant paragraphs about like, think of all the students who won't be able to have a normal senior year. Think of all the students who are going to miss out on prom. Think of all the seniors who are going to miss out on senior night. So basically, think of you, right? Because it's senior white girls who like, think of all the seniors who are going to miss prom. So basically you. So basically you want us to think of you specifically and make our decision around you. I'm not going to name names because if you're on Facebook and you follow these people, you know these people. The people who are like, choose A, choose in person, think of all the good times they're going to have, think of all the things they're going to miss out if you don't choose A. I mean, A is objectively the dumbest option. A is literally just go to school, do whatever you want, high five, just, lick each other's faces, spread the germs, because it's okay. Think of all the kids' happiness. That's stupid. That's objectively the worst option. But these 16-year-old white girls, well, not 16 because they're seniors. So like these 17-year-old white girls, they tell you to vote A to go in person, basically so they will enjoy the good things about high school, not considering that, all right, let's say they did vote A. Let's say they did vote, you can just do whatever you want, option A. They're acting like senior year is like this great thing. No, it's just every other year. If there's anything that I've learned through all my years of high school, and obviously I haven't done senior year yet, but from 1, 2, and 3, freshman, sophomore, junior, it's that it literally doesn't matter. People are like, oh, high school is hard. No, it's not. You make it hard because you make dumb decisions or you don't know how to manage your time. I literally have like 2 or 3 jobs, depending on what you consider as a job, what counts. Let's just go conservative. I have 2 jobs. I've had a job. I've had 1 job for a while, since I was like a sophomore. I've never like had problems with managing my time because this is what I see people do. People aren't willing to just cut stuff out of their schedule. Like this was a problem. Like there was a time when I was talking to a girl, won't say her name, but I was talking to this girl and she was like telling me I'm really stressed out. Basically, she told me this. She was like, I'm really stressed out because not only do I have to juggle this, I have to juggle A, but I also have to do B and C, and then every now and then I have to do D, and it's like, and then on top of that, from time to time I have to do E. It's like, well then cut some of that stuff out, dude. No one wants to cut out stuff. Why do you think I stopped doing drums? Because I was already doing photography, I was already doing podcasting, I was already doing videos, I was already doing all this stuff. I don't have time for another thing. I'm not someone, I know if you are someone who does this, this is fine. Do whatever you want to do. But if you're someone who's like, I'm not someone who likes to crowd my schedule. I'm not someone who's like, I like to do a whole bunch of stuff. Like if I have less than 4 hours of, there was a time when I literally maybe had 30 minutes of free time a day. I would wake up, get ready for school. That was all work. I'd go to school. That was all work. I'd get home, do homework, do actual work. Then I'd have to edit Sergey Speaks, do a whole bunch of photo stuff. And literally my breaks were taking a dump in the bathroom. Like I looked forward to having a bowel movement because that was the only time that I had a break. That was the only time that I was able to get away from all this work. And that's one thing I've learned from that is you can't crowd your schedule. You can't be constantly working. You can't do it. It's not sustainable. So if you're in, I don't know, if you're in a cappella group and also you're in the pep club and also you're in honor roll and also you're trying to be valid, you gotta cut some of that stuff out. I'm sorry, you just gotta. I know you want to do a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm sorry, you just gotta cut some of that stuff out. That's my life advice to you. Sometimes you literally just have to cut stuff out. There are literally entire hobbies that I almost got into. You almost saw Sergey Ivanov become like a drummer. I almost learned how to play the drums, but at a certain point I was like, no, I just don't have. I literally already have too much on my plate. At any given time, I've got like 10 projects. I do the podcast, which is easy, thankfully. I do Sergey Speaks. I do Snapshot. Then I also am a photographer, which entails a lot, which is like a full-time thing already. Then I do film restoration, and I've got like 3 photo projects on at once. I've got like 4 restoration projects on at once. And I hate saying this because I hate having to project myself as, oh, I'm this busy man and my time is very valuable. No, it's not. My time's not valuable. I just do a lot of stuff. But that's one thing that I've learned is you literally cannot do all of that. So for me, I'll have like 10 projects on the plate, on the table that I need to get done. At most, I'll do 2 at once. At most. I will not do 3 at once. I'll do 2 at once at most. Ideally, you really just do 1 at a time. You have 10 projects, get done with the first one. Once that's done, all right, move on to number 2. That's my advice to you guys. This has nothing to do with anything that I was talking about, but I read this cool news article. Don't worry, this is not going to be long. This is not going to be a reoccurring segment either. This is not going to turn to me as like, so the other day I read this article and I think it's pretty interesting. They found that people can see colors or something, or like something dumb, like something stupid like that. And I saw this article and it was this. I didn't believe it. I'll keep this quick. I saw this article and it was like, the sound so loud that it traveled the earth 4 times. Like, oh, this is clickbait. And I looked it up. There's actually a 1883. It was like a volcanic eruption in Japan. And it was so loud that it literally did circle the earth 4 times. The sound waves, it was so loud that the sound waves were so large, it circled the earth 4 times. Which is insane to think. Like, we're talking like if I went up to you and I was like, hey, person, did you hear that guy shout over in Murray? You'd be like, you're stupid. No, that's way far away. We're talking about someone in New York City hearing something that happened in like Ireland, is what it said in the article. That's how far away it is, and you could hear it happen. That is insane. That is insane to me. All right, now that that's over with, I just wanted to say that. Now that that's over with, I have gotten some complaints from more than one person. Let's just say that. More than one person. That I'm too negative on this podcast. And I definitely see their point. I do complain a lot on the podcast. And you know what? This episode, I am going to be a positive person. I'm going to see things in a positive light. Like if I see like a flooded home, I'm going to see the good side of that. Because normally you'd see a flooded house and you go, aw, that sucks. Which it does, but the positive side of that is there's a positive side to that somewhere, and you have to see the positive side. So there's a positive side to everything. I'm going to see the positive side of things. So let me tell you some things that I like. I told you a minute ago that I was talking with my friend Josh, and I was driving him home, and we were listening to the radio. My favorite station, 102.5. It's basically like funk, soul, R&B. Great station. It's a hidden gem if you live in the area. 102.5, and there's a song that I've heard it before. I don't know the title. And maybe you guys can help me. Maybe you guys can help me on my search for this song, because I got home and I looked it up. I couldn't find it. It was like, and you're about to hear my bad singing, but it went like, don't know what the name of that song is, and I want to listen to it more. And like neither me or Josh could like use Siri to like, hey Google, what is this song? We didn't have that available to us at the time, so we couldn't find it out. I really wanted to know. So if anyone knows what that song is, first thing, killer song. Love that song. I don't know the title of it, but whatever the title is, I like the song. So that's a good song. So that's a positive thing. Here's another positive thing. If anyone knows who DeJuan Thomas is. DeJuan Thomas, for those who don't know, he is a celebrity interview. He interviews celebrities. He interviewed like the dude who played the Red Power Ranger. He interviewed Dog the Bounty Hunter. He interviewed a whole bunch of people. He's an actor. He's a model. He got punched by some chick backstage, and TMZ reported on it. I thought about asking him, but I didn't. I was sort of afraid to. I didn't think he'd take that too well. So I actually got to film an episode of Sergey Speaks with him because he's actually running for mayor right now. And my friend Mia, if you don't know who Mia is, she was the camera op for all my Sergey Speaks episodes whenever I would film in the school. So she would film all those episodes. She DMs me like 2 weeks ago. She goes, hey, Sergey. And I go, hey, what's up? And she goes, do you want to do a Sergey Speaks episode with the guy running for mayor? And I go, DeJuan Thomas? You mean DeJuan Thomas? And she goes, yeah. And I go, ha ha ha, very funny. I thought she was joking. She goes, nah, I'm for real. Sends me a picture of like her and DeJuan at like an Olive Garden. I'm like, hold on, how do you know this dude? And she goes, long story. And basically she sets up that me and DeJuan are going to do an episode of Sergey Speaks. And from what I understand, DeJuan actually watches Sergey Speaks. Which at a certain point is like weird to think about. It's like the dude running for mayor like watches your videos. That's a weird thing to think about. So he's like, yeah, sure, I love your work. Do you want to do an interview, like sort of a Sergey Speaks type thing about me with other people? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And we filmed it. It's, this podcast is going up obviously on Friday. And the video is literally going to be up on the day that this podcast goes up. So be on the lookout for that. I did a Sergey Speaks with DeJuan Thomas. By the way, DeJuan Thomas, he is literally like the coolest dude. He's an awesome guy. He's so chilled. He's great. He's great to talk to. Like, he's such a nice guy. He really is. He really is. He's a good guy. Like, I can't vote because I'm like 5 years old, apparently. No, I'm 17. But I'm a youngin', so I can't vote. If I could vote, I would vote for DeJuan. If every single time. If I could vote, I would vote for him. He's a good guy, and I think he's a good candidate. So DeJuan Thomas, positive thing. That's another positive thing. So, you know what? I'm considering whether I should tell this story. Because I still need to fill in like 10 minutes. I don't know what to talk about. How about this? Let me tell you a story about a time when... should I tell this story? This is... Alright, I'll just leave out who I was with. So my friend Elliot. You've probably heard me talk about Elliot before. Elliot obviously is not his real name. But Elliot is one of my best friends. He's a great guy. Elliot's awesome. This was back during basketball season, literally right before COVID-19 hit. It was literally, we were playing this basketball game, we won, and that was the one that would take us to the semifinals, but the game got canceled, and that was because the school got closed because of Corona. So this was the last game McCracken County High School ever played of basketball, which is very historic if you think about it. So Elliot, he calls me up and he's like, hey, do you want to go see the Mustang versus, I think it was Marshall. It might have, I forgot what it was, but it was Mustang versus someone. I think it was Marshall. Mustang versus Marshall, I'm pretty sure. But it was at Murray because it was like getting close to the semifinals. So we're like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go. So he picks me up and like we go. So he picks me up. We go to Murray. We have a great time going there. And so afterwards, in Murray, there are a couple spots to eat. So, by the way, we lost the game. We got obliterated by Marshall County High School. This was the girls' game, I think. I couldn't make it to the guys' game, which we did win, and that's what took us to the semifinals before COVID hit. So after the game ends, we're sort of despondent because, we lost and we had high hopes. We drove an hour there, hoping we would win. We didn't win. But Elliot, he was like, all right, where do you want to eat? And I tell him, wherever. I don't mind. I'm not a picky eater. So he asked me, hey, have you ever been to the Cookout? And I'm like, no, I've never been to the Cookout. And he was like, oh, it's a good place. So he brings it to me. I thought it like Cookout literally meant like a cookout. Like it was like people were grilling outside. No, it's like a, I don't know how to describe it. It's a unique experience. They sell like burgers. They sell it's basically like a Darriette or a Parker's, but like it's all indoors. And it's great. By the way, everything's insanely cheap to the point where I think I got a corn dog, a hot dog, a double bacon cheeseburger, mozzarella sticks, like a milkshake, a quesadilla. I got a whole bunch of stuff. Like I worked out hard the next day and it still probably didn't make up for it. And all that was like $7. So that was cheap. And you better believe my Russian hungry self ate every last bite. So we walk in and there's kids from McCracken and there's kids from Marshall. And they're all getting along. They're all having a good time. And we're standing in line, me and Elliot are, to order. And we hear from over, people start to yell. And it doesn't sound like a yell of like celebration or anything, or just a yell because someone told a funny joke. This sounds like a yell of like someone is upset. And me and Elliot and basically everyone turn our heads over to the right. And people are standing on tables. And it looks like there's about to be a fight that breaks out. Because the thing is, Marshall and McCracken, there's a little bit of animosity there. And things can get tense between Marshall and McCracken. If you don't know, things can get pretty tense. We're thinking there's about to be a fight that breaks out because people are standing on tables, they're yelling. And I lean over to Ellie and it's like, are we about to see a fight? And he goes, I don't know. What? I don't know. Just don't make too much eye contact. The dudes who are yelling at each other, standing on the tables, we realize they're not fighting. They're literally just like acting drunk towards each other because I think they were drunk, and that'll come up later in the story. Because then, after they stop yelling, they literally lean over and hug each other on the table, sit back down. I come in and then people are like, hey, Sergey, I watch your videos. This was back when people watched my videos, by the way. Because apparently Marshall watches my stuff religiously, which is a strange thing to think. But especially at this time, they're like, everyone at Marshall knew who I was. So like, I was literally just sitting down, minding my own business, and Marshall kids would come and like, hey, Sergey, I like your videos. You're really funny. I'm like, thanks. So me and Elliot, we have a good time. We talk to some of the other people there. We talk to some of the Marshall kids. We talk to some of the McCracken kids. It's a great time. We're having a good time eating. The food's delicious. I order a blueberry cheesecake shake. I'm finishing it. And then, so it's basically at the end of the meal. And Elliot is eating his shake. So we're basically ready to leave. Just as soon as we finish our shakes, we're going to get in the car and leave. And drive home after this Murray game. But then also we hear from the table right next to us, which is like a group of 8 kids, both from Marshall and McCracken. We hear. And I can't remember the exact quotes, but they basically start bragging about how drunk they are and how they're about to drive home, which is not a mix that you want to be near. And to the point where they're bragging about it so much that all I have to do is look at Elliot and he looks at me. And I'm like, listen, we need to get our butts out of here and get home before like we start having to testify at a trial 6 weeks from now. That's what's going to happen if we don't leave soon. Like if we don't leave before they leave, like we're going to witness an accident and be put on the stand. And I wanted to avoid that, if at all possible, understandably. So we leave. And as we leave, I thought maybe, like, I want to see the best in people. I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, always. Which also almost got me stabbed outside of a bar by, like, some disabled man at, like, midnight a couple years ago. I mean, that's a different story, though. I can tell if you want next episode. About the disabled dude in a wheelchair who almost stabbed me outside of the Silver Bullet at like 10 p.m. That's a different story, though. But I like to see the good in people. Again, see the positive. If someone's flooding your house, see the positive. There's good to be had. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, maybe they're joking. People would joke about that. I would understand that. I'm a comedian. I understand why someone would joke about that. That has comedic potential. You know, you just say, you know, ha ha ha, yeah, I'm kidding, whatever. Me and Elliot were backing out of the parking lot at the Cookout. We had this great meal and we're leaving because we think that if we don't leave, we're going to be involved in a car wreck with them driving drunk. I'm thinking, like, maybe they're just kidding. They're not kidding because they get in their car and as they pull out, these 8 people, they go in separate cars, and it is clear by the way they are driving, they are intoxicated. They are too intoxicated for me to even feel safe being on the same 3-mile radius of road as them. So I'm like, Elliot, come on, we need to leave now. And he's like, I agree. And he just hightails it out of there before they can even leave the parking lot. And so that was what happened. We avoided that. Me and Elliot did. And I'd like to say that Elliot is a good driver, but, you know, I mean, one time I was following him to a Paducah-Tillman basketball game, and he literally drove into traffic. But yet at the same time, he always like looks at me like I'm the dumb one for following him. It's like, no, you made the mistake. So I know Elliot's listening to this. Elliot's not his name, and he knows it. But he knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, I've talked for long enough, and it's like midnight by now. I'm really tired, for real. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into the Sound of Sergey podcast episode 14. It means so much that you support this. I love it. I love getting you guys' feedback. It makes my day. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Servanov, SERVANOV _ just Servanov was taken. And at Sergey_speaks. Those are my 2 Instagram accounts. Also, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Servanov, SERVANOV. Every other week, you will get an episode of Snapshot, my photography series, and Sergey Speaks. And this Sergey Speaks that you're about to see today is with Juan Thomas, so definitely look out for that one. Make sure to follow this podcast on Spotify if you aren't already, and tune in every 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for more The Sound of Sergey on Spotify free. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys, each and every one of you, and I will see you next week.